Yo, what's up? What's happening, people? Welcome again to another episode of the Meathead on the Mic podcast. It's your boy, IFBB PRO Tyler. You know what time it is. We're going to be breaking down a mindset video today. And my intention for this video is to make you understand, or at least to help you understand, that comparing yourself to what you see online isn't worth it. And it will never be worth it. And, the common things that we all hear or say, like, I'll be happy when I get this car. I'll be happy when I get this body or I look like this. I'll be happy when I have $1 million. Like all that shit means absolutely nothing. And we're going to be breaking that down in today's episode. All right. So we're going to get into it. Let me just go live on all the other social media platforms here. We're rolling. We're rolling. Everything's good. All right, people. So, as I talked about a little bit in the YouTube intro of this video, we'll be talking about our body, or at least the minds that our bodies have and our perspective when it comes to associating happiness to the things that we think will make us happy, which are like mostly material things, right? So we're going to be breaking it down today. We're going to be talking about this one again, guys and girls. If you're new, you're more than welcome to ask questions as we go along through this live stream. But when the podcast is recording, I will not be responding to anything until the end of the video, and I'll do my best to respond to as many comments as possible. All right, so without wasting any time, we'll be diving into this podcast episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Yo, what's good, meatheads? Hope you're having an amazing day, and welcome to another episode of the Meathead on the Mic podcast. It's your returning champion, IFBB Pro Matt Brutale, coming at you with another topic. And today, I'll be telling you the truth about what you think is your perfect life, right? I'll be talking about essentially what we think will make us happy and how that doesn't really make sense, or at least why we shouldn't strive for something to make us happy, or like the belief of happiness altogether being associated with material things or um, our bodies in terms of the way we change. Like, again, I understand you might be happier if you lose a bunch of weight that you've been wanting to lose for a while. Like, you might feel happier and have a higher quality life as a result of that, which is true. But if that's all your life is about, that's not a good thing. And we're going to be diving into that episode today. All right. So, guys and girls, a perfect body doesn't equal a perfect life. When you watch movies or scroll on social media, let me know if this is you. Or if you glance or you look at the front page covers of magazines, if you even fucking do that anymore. I don't even know who looks at magazines. Like, I haven't seen one in years. If you do any of those activities, just essentially taking in media in any way, shape, or form, newspapers count too. It's easy to assume that the actors or like the models or athletes depicted in those forms of media have a better life than you because of their money, their amazing body, or like what we perceive to be their status. Like we assume that, or most of us at least, that are, I would say, wishful thinkers, not necessarily naive, would assume that they're happier because of the things that they've got in their life. Like it would seem like almost the correct assumption, right? But if you look closely, really closely, I mean, actually, not even really closely, because tabloids are all over the place and you can see the messy drama that happens everywhere. If you look, not even closely, if you just fucking open your eyes and your ears, you'll notice that that's rarely the case for those actors, those models, or those athletes, right? Like, yes, having a wicked set of arms or a fucking amazing six pack is something to be proud about. And if you worked for that and you got it and it made you happier, power to you. Yes, earning loads of money is definitely a problem you want to have. You know what I mean? More money, more problems. I'm sure everybody would have more money or would want more money than less money, right? So if that's something that you view as like fulfilling, that's cool. You know what I mean? It's probably going to fulfill you up to a certain extent. And yes, like being an A-lister, like high status guy or girl sounds super fucking cool. But that really isn't all there is to life. And like, who am I to talk about this? Like, I'm no A-lister, I'm no millionaire. I'm a guy with a wicked set of arms and maybe a six pack to brag about, but I'm not. I don't have it all figured out. So why should you listen to me? The truth is, you shouldn't. You should listen to yourself. And now, what do I mean by that? Like, let's break it down. Let's look back at your childhood or like just even recently. Think of things that you've wanted recently, whether or even when you were a kid, like a gift that you got during Christmas, right? You wanted that gift so bad, your parents paid attention to you, and then when it came around to Christmas, they got the gift for you, and you were so fucking excited, you were so happy, and then like 3 months passed, and you forgot about that thing altogether. Let me know if that's happened to you. Or like a car, like you've really wanted this fucking dream car, saved up for years. You've been looking at pictures, saving it on Pinterest, whatever it is. You're so interested in it. You get that fucking car, and then like a year later, it's just another car that you take to the mechanic and you go to work with. And not that you don't like it, but it doesn't serve the exact same level of happiness that it did previously, right? Let me know if that's happened to you. this is something that repeats a lot in life. So it's basically any goal or anything that we strive to achieve keeps us running. It keeps us going throughout the journey and sort of like at a peak as we go and chase that thing, right? And then once we obtain that thing, it's almost like we lose our sense of drive. We lose almost the passion that's associated with even liking that thing in the first place, and it almost takes away the happiness that it once provided. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Right? So if that's something that makes sense to you, like just nod your head silently. Like having, an amazing body or loads of money or being an A-lister or having all these fucking cool things, it might make you happy for a little bit of time, but it's not going to make you happy indefinitely, right? Because that's not all there is to life. I still believe, personally, I still believe that, fitness, finance, and network is super fucking valuable. Like I will die with that belief in my heart. Like that's true. However, you'd be surprised to learn that some of those people that you idolize and fawn over are just human beings too. Like we're exactly human, like they're flesh and blood, human beings, right? We shit, we sleep, we cry, we smile. We're human beings, all of us, right? And like we're humans with parents, cousins, uncles, friends too, right? So like they go through the same shit that you do, but they have more resources to deal with those problems. So yes, you could say that they're happier because of the resources, which I wouldn't deny. But if we're looking at resources alone are not going to make you like this is not going to fix that problem that you have in your chest. Not I don't want to even call it a problem, but like that discomfort, that level of or that anxiety, that fear that you won't be happy or like no matter what you do, you'll never achieve the happiness that you want to achieve, right? Like that's all tied in with the reality of your situation, or at least the permission you give yourself to accept when it comes to that reality of your situation based off of what you allow to make you happy. And in this case, you're allowing things to make you happy. And it's not that you're really making this decision consciously. Like I do this as well. Like I'm definitely a victim, not a victim, but I definitely make this error as well. Right. And that error is just thinking the next best thing is going to make me happy. The next thing that I chase is going to make me happy. When in actuality, the thing that made me happy or kept me closest to being happy was being in the journey. Right. And then we understand that, okay, well, when you're in the journey and you're striving to achieve this thing, and you're, you know, being more productive than you've ever been with the anticipation of peaking at that happiness, you realize like the true happiness is the journey. Because once you get the thing, the happiness goes down, right? Once you secure that goal or get that amount of money, buy that car, get that body, where does the motivation go after that? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? And like, if we can understand that, then we can also understand that happiness isn't embedded in the thing that we want. And if it's not embedded in the thing that we want, then we have to do some reevaluation here, right? We have to look at what is happiness, why do we value it so much, why do we put so much weight on it, and why do we want to keep it so much? Let's break it down. Happiness feels good. We all want to feel happy, right? You who does like if you don't want to feel happy, that's you're weird, right? Everyone wants to feel happy, right? So we want to do things that are going to make us, get closer and closer to that feeling of being happy. But the whole thing is like if we can understand that you don't actually need to be happy, like you don't need to force a situation so that the outcome makes you happy every single time. Like once you can actually mentally grasp that and like you understand that for real, you don't need to feel happy. Then when you do feel happy, it's gonna not only feel a lot more rewarding, but it's gonna be a lot more authentic and genuine because you didn't have to force yourself to get to that position, right? And even so, like let's just look at it. Like, do you really need to be happy? Like that sounds like sort of a realist point of view or like a weird point of view. Like, but like ask yourself, do you need to be happy in order to like live the life that you want to live? You want to be happy and you would assume that living the life you want to live is going to make you happy, but do you actually need to be happy? Like there are days we're sad, there are days we're angry, or times or moments even. Usually we never experience one emotion for an entire day unless it's like depression or something off the rails like that. But like ask yourself, do you really need happiness? As weird of a question as that is, do you actually need it? Right? And like when you're able to go and break that mental barrier down and like analyze like what happiness means to you, you'll realize that you don't actually need to like hold this belief that everything needs to make you happy or that everything that you're doing needs to lead up to the end goal of you being happy. Sometimes the end goal might just be you being fulfilled or just completing something, right? The end goal might just be anything, just a responsibility being fulfilled, like anything. You might not be happy doing, you might be tired a little bit, does that mean you shouldn't, seek it? Like taking care of your kids, for example, and this is an extreme example. Taking care of your kids, for example, might be a fucking pain in the ass all the time, right? But are you gonna like not do it because it doesn't make you happy? No, you're gonna take care of your kid because it's your responsibility, or at least I would assume, I would hope, right? So if we can like look at things like that, more like that, and understand that the quote unquote happiness is in the journey, or at least that happiness isn't required. It's not a necessity for success in the way that we think it is, because I think it's still beneficial to be happy and have happiness in our lives, but we don't actually it's not a pivotal point of where we need to like stay in order to make shit happen. Then I think we're on the better path if we can understand that we don't need it. Because then we're like making ourselves victims to the fact that we're not able to achieve the things that we want to achieve because we don't feel happy, or it doesn't give us happiness. Does that make sense? I hope I didn't like over explain that. Again, guys and girls, people that or most of the people that we'll see in, the actors, the athletes, things like that, anybody in the media, tabloids or anything, social media, all that stuff, right? They all go through the same shit that we do. They experience unhappiness and happiness the way that we do. Maybe not the exact same way, but they experience those emotions, right? And it's still good for you to gain inspiration and look up to these people, right? And like it's good because it's going to make you want more for yourself. It's literally what helped me at least chase what I wanted to chase because I saw other people with it, right? Like an IFBB Pro card would be an example, right? So you can definitely, and I would obviously encourage you to look up to others when it comes to being motivated, having goals to set, you know, get your inspiration. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. But don't do that at the expense of your mental health. Like if you think competing is going to solve your emotional issues, like competing in any sport or like bodybuilding, anything, competing, if you think that's going to like fill a gap for your emotional issues, you're in for a wild ride because it's not. It's not. It's not going to fulfill that negative void. And if you think that making tons of money will rid you of, your lack of self confidence, or if you think that making shit tons of money is going to sort of make you, or instead of break you, or like create this person out of yourself that you never saw existed, right? Like to remake you in a sense. If you think that making a shit ton of money or like having abs or whatever it is going to do that for you, you're heading down a dangerous path. Like if you think anything, the result of anything is like true happiness or like everlasting happiness, you're really heading down a dangerous path, and you'll get lonely and you feel worse when you realize that that's not the outcome. Like you've worked so hard for that not to be an outcome. You know what I mean? Which is why I think it's really dangerous to tie happiness to the end of a goal. Like success can be enough. Like we can just say it's done. This was a journey. The journey was amazing. Maybe it was hard. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I was annoyed. Maybe I was happy at times. But this was the journey, right? And like now that I've completed it, I'm able to take the experience I can from this and use it for other things in my life that I want to actually improve. Instead of just letting the end all be all be at happiness. Like I'm happy now. I have a six pack. I'm happy now. And because I'm happy, I'm not gonna focus on this shit anymore. And I'm just gonna eat whatever the fuck I want to eat and get myself back to where I got myself in the first place and undo all of my progress. Like that's I think one of the most dangerous things that happens when we associate happiness with like the success of anything or like the accomplishment of a goal. Like if we only connect happiness to it. Yes, you can be happy and you should be happy when you achieve something. But if it's like the only reason why you're doing something, there's no other like deeper meaning, then it's just as shallow as making you happy. Because the moment it's not happy, you're not happy by that thing anymore. Is the moment it doesn't matter, right? Like as I said, like the things that really make life worth living come from the experiences you have, the experiences that only you can go through, right? Like with those experiences, you can build. Like just think of it. Close your eyes, think of it. With those experiences, you can build more resilience and strength to continue climbing the ladder and achieving your version of like success, or your version of a happy life, or your version of, just what a mission well done is, but not at the same time also not equating to the picture perfect examples that you try to emulate because it's not realistic. And like I got my fucking words too I got to say about this, I'm going to be honest. I've definitely said this. I'll be happy when I turn pro. I'll be happy when I make $1 million a year. I'll be happy when I get this car. I'll be happy when I get this mansion. I'll be happy when I whatever it is, insert here. Like that is those are some of the things that would go on in my mind if I'm being vulnerable, if I'm being honest, right? But when I tie them all to the first one, which is I'll be happy when I turn pro, I realize how futile the rest of everything else is. Because I remember, like vividly remember, like just fiending over the idea, like I'll be turning pro, and like when I turn pro, this will happen, and I'll be so happy, and the pro card and this and like the opportunities, and just hyping myself up on the potential, on the happiness that I'll get from achieving this goal, crossing this milestone, when in actuality it was just that, a milestone. Once I got the pro card, it was like maybe what? I went out for a dinner the night of. The whole week it was pretty cool at the gym. Everyone's like, "Oh fuck, you did it!" And then after that week, it was like back to normal. And if I were to just tie all of my happiness to that pro card, I would be a sad ass motherfucker right now. Because I realized, okay, well, the pro card's out the way. There's nothing really to work for now, and the hype of this died out because everyone already knows what the fuck is there to do. Well, this is the first show now, and now the IFBB Pro debut. That's the next thing. That's the next quote unquote pro card for me. The same way the $1 million a year would be the next pro card for me. The same way that that new car will be that new pro card for me. It's something to chase. It's really something to chase, but getting it alone is not going to do. It's not going to solve everything. It's not going to make me happy. It's not going to like. There's no one answer for everything in life, and that one answer is definitely not going to live inside of money or status of any kind by being a professional athlete or anything like that. And it only took me it took me a couple of examples in my life, but really once I got that pro card, which is right behind me, did I realize, okay, fuck, like I'm not going to be happy if I continue to treat all of my goals this way. We're like, oh, I'll only be happy when I get my pro card. Well, I'll feel good when I get my pro card. And not to say that you're not allowed to feel happy, not to say that you're not allowed to feel good, but if that's all that it's about, you're not really going to chase anything else because you're not going to be happy. And if you're not happy, like it's the circular, not a circular definition, but it's sort of like a circular pattern. It just repeats over and over. I'm not happy, so I won't do the thing. I'm not motivated because I'm not happy, so I won't do the thing. Whatever it is, if you let your emotions dictate what you do and control how you operate, you either will a chase the thing that you want to chase, but not chase it like with all of your energy, or b you just won't fucking chase it at all. Right. So it's very important to know when to at least detach not even just happiness, but all of your emotions from whatever goal it is that you want to achieve, if you truly want to achieve it and have some sort of like lasting permanent hold on it, right? If again, guys and girls, and there's nothing that we can touch that's just going to give us happiness. There's nothing that we can eat that's just going to give us happiness. Like even the gym, like yes, I like to train sometimes or all the time, but if I'm only happy when I go to the gym, that sucks for the rest of the day, doesn't it? Right? So you shouldn't at least just tie every goal or every adventure or every like the reason doesn't need to be to make you happy in the end. Like that doesn't need to be the reason. And if that's the only reason, like it could be a part of the reason, but if it's the only reason, it's whatever you're chasing is going to suck. And you might not have the guts to even go all the way through with it because it's just gonna seem fucking meaningless to you after a while, whenever you're not happy. If you can come to terms and accepting that you'll chase the thing, even if, regardless of your emotion, then the rewards that you'll reap from that will be a lot more authentic and you'll feel a lot better about whatever it is that you've achieved. Like instead of saying, I'm only going to be happy when I make $1 million, fucking love the process, do the thing that's going to help you get there. And then once you get there, you might not even realize it. You might just hit it by accident. Then it's going to be, oh, well, like that's cool. It's cool that I hit this milestone. I like the fact that I hit it. It does also make me happy. But what keeps me aligned is doing the thing that got me there in the first place. The same thing with weight loss, the same thing with even if I'm looking inwards as a professional bodybuilder. That would be my thing. Got the pro card. Okay, well, now continue to work, develop that physique, build the muscle, and develop a stage presence and build your professional career from there. Right. So it's always about the journey, guys and girls. The end goal should never just be happiness alone, and the end goal should never only you should never only be motivated to achieve that end goal based off of happiness or even any emotion, especially if it's anger. Say somebody pissed you off or broke your heart, and now you're doing this thing and you're super successful, and now you feel like you got one over on them and you don't really want to do the thing anymore because you're not angry because you're out of the fuel, right? Anger is your fuel, right? And if you're no longer angry and you're not doing the thing, then you're no longer succeeding, which sucks, right? And it applies to every emotion, especially happiness. Happiness murders more dreams than anybody even knows, right? Like when I just used the example about with rage and getting a one up on a partner or something like that, it's the same thing that people do with happiness, literally. And you shouldn't use your emotions to dictate where you go with that. Like your emotions should never be responsible for you making any decision. It should be logic based and in line with a plan. Those two things. You feel me? Again, guys and girls, embrace the mistakes, embrace the shame, embrace the criticism. It's a part of your experience. And it's the only experience worth living because it's yours. You don't have to be jacked, rich, and popular at the same time. Being either one of those things alone isn't going to fulfill you, as I just fucking stressed about. And I'll be honest with you, all of those things combined won't fulfill you if you ignore the other more important sectors of your life, like your relationships with your family, your children, and your loved ones, or the relationships you have with your morals and values. Like you can look up to the stars and athletes for fucking inspiration, but always, and anything, adoration. You can admire these people, right? But always remember to compete with yourself. Bottom line. Always remember to compete with yourself instead of comparing with others. And also, never use your emotions as a reason to do anything, whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing or whatever it is. Like, always think from or at least try your best to think from a point of logic and favoring outcomes. Because if you only react based off of the negative energy that you feel, say like someone breaks your heart, your girl breaks your heart, you're like, fuck this, I'm gonna start competing. And this is actually a true story, right? So I'm gonna start competing, I'm gonna get one up. You know what I mean? I'm gonna look fucking amazing. You start competing, boom, 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 you're doing well. And now the fire is gone because you don't give a fuck anymore. You're no longer angry, right? And this was me, right? And then with that the anger dissipating, so did my motivation, because my motivation was tied to the was attached or tied to the emotion, which nothing good ever really should be. And the moment I realized that, I switched my mind from, okay, well, yes, I did get the one up, and that sort of is what kickstarted this. But what's really important for me? Looking good, looking better every single year. That's cool for me. I want to do that. Developing my mind and my discipline and being able to control what I put into my mouth so that I can control other facets of my life. That's, I'm cool with that. And then I stepped down logically. I was like, okay, well, if I'm not going to do this based off of emotion, I'm doing this for an end result, and this is the end result. And I will also see happiness in that end result, but happiness is not the only reason why I'm doing that. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? That's it. That's all. If you like this episode, share it out with a friend. I hope I was able to deliver a valuable experience to you guys and girls today. Let's embrace your inner meathead together. It's been nice chatting. Hope you like what today's topic was about. IFBB PRO Matt Butale signing out. Boom. All right, people. Podcast recorded. Dylan, what's up? He says, extremely needed to hear that. I can't walk for a year. I need to control my stress levels. We're gonna chat. I'm gonna shoot you a DM after this, bro. We got a lot to catch up on, because I know you've been messed up with your schedule for a bit, and we sort of went like cold walls on each other, and we have to pick that back up because there's a lot of work that we need to do, just to make sure that you're moving forward. I haven't forgot about you, man. All right, so we're gonna chat shortly after this. Uncle John, what's good? You rock. I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Um, all right, people. Okay, any questions? I'll take questions for like literally 60 seconds, and then I'm gonna run out of here real quick. All right, looks like we're good. Ain't got no questions today. All right, that's it. That's all, people. We'll be back again in the week to talk again. You know what time it is. Me ahead on the mic. IFBB Pro Matt Butale signing out. Boom.